Good morning. Podcast, full effect. Boy, the almighty Nicodemus, back again, back for another one on the blessed Wednesday morning. So today's topic is hip-hop a minstrel show. So I read an article this week written by journalist Kevin Powell, and I must say I was not in the least impressed by this article. I mean, if you've seen one hip-hop documentary, you've seen them all, right? And that's exactly, for the most part, how this article read. If it was one thing in this article, I'm trying to think, I can't even think of anything positive I took from this article. Because it was just not good. It wasn't original. It was very, very, in my opinion, disingenuous, just not honest. He touched on a lot of, he brought up a lot of talking points that you hear now in 2023. You know, toxic masculinity, misogyny, homophobia. Is that being a driving thing for hip-hop? Like, hip-hop just went downhill after the Chronic, and how it was just so positive and uplifting, and then it just went bad. And I just can't agree with that. And it's not because I don't believe it's really untrue, but I believe that the narrowing focus on hip-hop going that route, as if the whole country wasn't going that route. In the 90s, in the late 80s and the 90s, into the early 90s, into the 90s, American pop culture, American secular culture, whatever you want to call it, just went crazy. You know what I'm saying? More violent, more sexual, more open, more politically incorrect. And hip-hop going the same direction, especially being that's the market is in, entertainment industry. And I don't care what anybody say, bro. I think I was looking at these guys dead in hip-hop, and they were talking about the article. And I think they were like, 1993, Arrested Development was on the charts along with the Chronic. So that music could sell. Listen, fam, it did sell. Arrested Development and maybe two other acts actually sold on the mainstream level with that type of music. And at the same time, the youth of the culture, which is the driving force of most entertainment, especially music, wasn't really fucking with Arrested Development. You know what I'm saying? Like, my moms was listening to Arrested Development. They were playing on the radio and shit like that, but the album as a whole wasn't that good. I don't care about them 3 singles. People with my age group, we wasn't like, yo, man, let me hold that Arrested Development. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't happening. So these rose-colored glasses that he put on, like, he just went downhill. I'm like, bro, the whole American pop culture was on with anything politically incorrect. And hip-hop was on that same shit too. Nature of the business. Sorry. So I thought that part, I didn't care for that. It's like nothing was that. Then he tries to diss Ice Cube because he talked to Tucker Carlson. Did a podcast about this before. Why are you Negroes focusing on the fact that Ice Cube talked to Tucker Carlson? Ice Cube talked to damn near every podcast that he probably could get on. He said he was doing a tour. He went and talked to everybody. And he was trying to make his message clear. He had something that he wanted to let me know. So is he only limited to talk to one person? Or because some people are starting to be, especially black men, are starting to lean, are starting to lean more to quote unquote right-wing politics. And what's happening is because at one point it was cool to be politically incorrect. It was cool to be anti-establishment, right? But now times have changed and everything just flipped upside down. And now all the people my age, maybe they're in the media or they may be journalists like this guy, you know, all of a sudden you guys are the establishment now. And if you come out of that generation, like a lot of us that were brought up and raised on hip hop, anti-establishment hip hop, what do you think's gonna happen now? Yeah, nobody's feeling that status quo shit. What are you talking about? So that part was whack. And it was just like, yo, I couldn't tell. You know, if I didn't know who wrote the article and I just read it, I would have been like, man, who is this white lady to be talking about black people? About what is this? That's how we read it. It was just very, very narrow-minded. And mind you, actually this hip-hop convention show, listen, since Amos and Andy, black people have always had an issue or always spoke on black people's place in the entertainment industry. It's always been an issue. It's an issue in the 70s. It's always been a problem. So that's nothing new. And that's the other thing about the article. Like I said, it's like if you've seen this article, if you read it before, you read it once. If you've seen the documentary before, you've seen it 1,000 times. Like that's how we read. Like this is nothing new. And it's just so tripped out that nobody is honest. Like it's like almost like they're repeating shit over and over again. Like they ain't came up with nothing yet. Point out all the problems. You focus on all the victimhood that you can, or victimizing that you can. There is never a solution when it comes to this crap. When it comes to this, and you always got a problem. But that's always been an issue with us. I'm gonna have something to say about mainstream culture. And so, hey, listen. I don't want to bash no brother, but it just wasn't a good article, man. It wasn't a good read. It was real biased. It was real. It couldn't have been more status quo, man. But yeah, the world is upside down, man. At one time it was a secular world that was like, yo, be politically incorrect. It would push that narrative. And now it's like, no, that is wrong. You cannot be that way. And it's crazy. Being the age I am now and seeing the world at a 180. Like, damn, how did I get on this side? And now secular media is the most status quo thing ever. But, what else on that article? Yeah, it just read like I said, it just read like the basic hip hop documentary. You know what I'm saying, from the beginning. I remember hip hop from the Sugar Hill Gang when I first heard it. Oh, but then it started in the park. But it goes back further, 1967 and the movement. And like if you've seen any hip hop documentary, this article reads like that. But then it just takes that point where it's like, but then when 93 came, and that does it in the documentary too. But he just goes in on it, like, it just went to shit. Like, what is this? I'm like, bro, that's the way that's how popular culture was moving at the time. So, yeah, man, I can't really rock with him on that article. And I never liked him on the real world anyway, so I'm not surprised that he put out some bullshit like that in the first place. But, yeah, man, that's really all I got now. Hip-hop is 50. We're still young. The fact that we can even talk about the conception or when it started, talk about where it's at now, to me is an accomplishment in itself. You know, I have an understanding, hey, when things are part of secular culture or secular entertainment industry, or secular industry, I should say, you don't be expecting for it to be righteous. It's not how it doesn't work like that. That ain't never how it worked. And I don't know why people trying to act like shit was like that. It wasn't like that. Every generation got a problem with the generation before, and their shit was better. And that's pretty much all that article said. It just did the talking points of what goes on in 2023. You know what I mean? It threw some of that bullshit there. Because this article could have came out in 1993, 2003, and it doesn't sound any different. But like I said, hip hop is 50. I still love it. There's still jams out here. There's still artists putting out good music. Even artists from the 90s putting out good music. You know, pros and cons to the internet is flooded, but it's a lot of stuff out there listening to, and you can have your own rose-colored world. You know what I mean? Sex sells. You know, you complain about Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, or Sexy Red or whatever. It's not surprising. That's the culture, the way the culture is moving. We live in a world where we got a computer in our pocket, porn at our fingertips. What do you think the music is going to sound like? But you know, it's your boy, the Almighty Nick Davis, Power 7 Podcast. I'm out.